Welcome, gents. When you stop chasing what the world tells you to care about, you start living on your own terms. Not everyone is built to follow the usual route. Some men just think differently, move differently, and feel drained by the things that excite most people. If you've ever sat in a room full of people and felt like you were somewhere else entirely, not because you're disconnected, but because your mind is working on something deeper, something more meaningful, chances are you're not broken. You're a Sigma male. You probably don't care about the constant noise people chase every day. You don't get pulled into drama just to feel relevant. You don't pretend to be someone you're not just to feel accepted. And that isn't a weakness. That's your edge. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You're not wired to blend in or follow outdated rules. You're built to lead yourself, not with arrogance, but with quiet discipline and a clear sense of purpose. So if people call you distant, too independent, or even cold, let them talk. You know who you are. And in a world obsessed with being seen, there's something powerful about mastering the art of staying unseen but fully in control. This isn't about rebellion, it's about alignment. You're not chasing the wrong things, you've simply chosen to care about what actually matters. And that's what makes you rare. You're not missing out, you're just moving different. Keep going, let's begin, gents. Number 1, copy-paste lifestyles. Most people grow up being handed a formula. Go to school, get a safe job, buy a house with a fence, settle down, and work until you're old enough to retire and maybe finally start living. That formula is treated like a sacred script. Follow it and you're doing well. But if you dare to step off that path, people start asking questions. They get uncomfortable. Not because you're wrong, but because you're no longer predictable. Sigma males aren't wired to follow a script that was never made for them in the first place. They don't see freedom in routines that slowly drain the life out of people. A copy-paste lifestyle feels like a cage dressed up as success. And for them, that's unbearable. Instead of blindly repeating what others are doing, they pause and ask the hard questions. What do I actually want from life? What feels real to me? What would I choose if I wasn't being pressured by everyone around me? That kind of thinking doesn't lead to polished answers or picture-perfect lives. It leads to something better. Something honest. While most people are chasing comfort, Sigma males chase alignment. They'd rather build a life that's misunderstood than live one that's acceptable but soul-crushing. That's why their choices often confuse others. Maybe they skip college to pursue a craft. Maybe they leave a steady job to travel light and build something from scratch. They're not being reckless, they're being real. People call them unpredictable, even difficult. But give it time. What looked like chaos begins to take shape. What seemed like a strange decision starts making perfect sense. Because Sigma males don't build for the moment. They build for depth, for purpose, for peace. They don't need to follow templates because they're busy creating their own. And that's exactly why their lives stand out, not because they tried to be different, but because they had the courage to be honest. In a world full of copies, being original is the boldest move there is. Number 2, pleasing their family's expectations. For a lot of people, life is less about what they want and more about what their family expects. Go to this school, pick that career, marry someone who fits the mold. Make sure no one in the family feels uncomfortable with your choices. It's like living inside a story someone else wrote and calling it your own. Sigma males? They feel that pressure too, but they don't let it rule them. In fact, many of them tear that script up early on, not out of rebellion, but out of clarity. They understand the difference between love and control, between respect and obedience. They respect where they come from, but they don't mistake tradition for truth. Just because something has been done for generations doesn't mean it still makes sense today. Sigma males ask deeper questions. What do I believe in? What kind of life feels right to me? And most importantly, am I living for myself or just trying to avoid disappointing others? That kind of thinking usually makes people uncomfortable. But Sigma males are willing to carry that tension. They know that choosing your own path often comes with silence, criticism, or distance. But they'd rather face that than live a fake life wrapped in someone else's dreams. They're not heartless. They care deeply about the people in their life. But they also know that love doesn't mean blind submission. Sometimes honoring your family means becoming something they never expected, but exactly what you were meant to be. Sigma males choose truth over comfort. They refuse to be emotionally blackmailed into a life that doesn't fit. And while many people live as replicas of their parents' hopes, Sigma males become original versions of themselves. It's not an easy path, but it's the one where they can look in the mirror and say, this is who I really am. And in the long run, that truth matters more than anyone's approval. Number 3, performing masculinity. There's this idea out there that being a man means putting on a show. Be louder, be tougher, show no emotion, always win. It's all performative, like a constant audition for approval. But Sigma males see right through that. They don't waste energy pretending to be something just to tick the masculinity box. They don't need to puff up their chest or speak over everyone to feel strong. They don't need to dominate a room to prove they're powerful. Their masculinity isn't something they perform, it's something they live, quietly and consistently. Real strength doesn't have to shout. Sigma males understand that. Their presence doesn't demand attention, but it still gets noticed. There's a calm, unshakable quality in the way they move through the world. No show, no act, just clarity and control. While others are obsessed with looking the part, Sigma males are focused on being solid beneath the surface. They don't rely on physical intimidation or fake bravado. They rely on inner discipline, emotional restraint, and the kind of mental sharpness that doesn't flinch under pressure. That's the kind of masculinity that doesn't crack when things go wrong. And because they're not caught up in playing a role, they have the freedom to be fully themselves. Some days that means being silent. Some days it means being protective. Other times it means letting someone else speak without feeling threatened. Their masculinity is flexible because it's not performative. It's real. They know who they are. They don't need to prove it. That's the kind of masculinity that's rare and magnetic, not because it tries to impress, but because it holds its ground without trying too hard. While the world stages loud displays of strength, Sigma males are busy building the kind that doesn't need an audience. And that quiet kind of confidence, it always outlasts the performance. Number 4, posting every move online. In today's world, everyone's broadcasting everything. Breakfast, gym selfies, deep thoughts that aren't that deep, shared for likes, comments, and fleeting approval. People document their entire lives just to feel seen. But Sigma males aren't interested in that game. They don't feed on validation, and they definitely don't give away their next move for free. You won't find a Sigma male updating the world on what he's about to do. He's not tweeting every idea or posting vague captions begging for attention. His silence isn't insecurity, it's intention. He doesn't need an audience to move. He moves when he's ready. This isn't about being mysterious for effect. It's about protecting what matters. Sigma males understand that not everything is meant to be shared. Some plans are too valuable to be spoken out loud before they're real. Some goals need to grow in the dark. While others chase online applause, Sigma males are building something behind the scenes, quietly, carefully. Their dopamine doesn't come from likes, it comes from results. They're not performing success, they're living it. And when they finally show up with something new, it's not hype, it's finished. That level of privacy confuses people. We're used to oversharing. We're used to knowing everyone's thoughts before they've had time to think them through. But Sigma males operate on a different frequency. They don't need to tell the world what they're doing. They'd rather let the results speak for them. Their digital silence, that's not absence. It's power, it's patience. It's the ability to build without distraction, without noise, and without needing permission. So while the rest of the world is shouting, "Look at me," Sigma males are working in the quiet, getting better, getting sharper, and preparing for something that doesn't need an announcement. And when the next move shows up, it won't be a teaser, it'll be a statement. Number 5, loud success. We live in a world obsessed with making noise, a new car, a promotion, a business launch. People announce it like it's a red carpet event. Every achievement becomes a production. And honestly, most of the time, it's not about the win itself, it's about being seen winning. But Sigma males move differently. They don't broadcast their victories. They don't need applause or headlines. Their success is silent by design. Not because they're hiding it, but because they don't need anyone's reaction to validate what they've earned. For them, success is personal. It's about mastery, not visibility. They know that when you're truly focused on building something meaningful, the loudest thing in the room should be your discipline, not your mouth. They don't post their grind, they live it. They don't warn you they're coming. They just show up one day having already arrived, and by the time the world notices, it's too late to catch up. Sigma males understand something most people miss. The louder you are, the more distracted you become. The more you try to impress, the more you compromise your direction. So instead, they stay locked in, building, learning, evolving privately. They know the real power lies in staying quiet long enough to become undeniable, the kind of success that can't be argued. Not because it was shouted into existence, but because it was earned in silence and revealed in strength. People often mistake that silence for humility or even weakness, but it's really about clarity. Sigma males know exactly who they are and what they're after. They don't need to prove it while they're in the process. Their wins aren't made for show, they're made for legacy. And legacy doesn't need noise. It needs consistency, courage, and a mindset that's not looking for praise. So while others chase loud success for likes and envy, Sigma males keep stacking quiet victories that no one sees coming, until it's already done. Number 6, performative intimacy. In a world where everyone's constantly sharing their feelings, calling strangers bestie, and posting every emotional moment for the internet to witness, it's easy to confuse visibility with actual closeness. People treat connection like a performance, loud, fast, and often hollow. But for Sigma males, intimacy isn't something you stage, it's something sacred. They don't fake closeness to feel included. They're not interested in bonding over surface-level talk or oversharing to look deep. If they let you into their world, it's not for aesthetics, it's real. And it's rare. You'll never truly know what matters to a Sigma male unless you've earned that place. And no, following him on socials, texting a few times, or having late-night talks doesn't get you there. Access isn't granted just because you showed up. It's granted when you show consistency, depth, and truth. He doesn't offer pieces of himself just because the moment feels right. He pays attention to patterns, not performances, because he knows most people are addicted to the illusion of closeness. They want quick emotional hits without doing the actual work of showing up, listening, and staying. Sigma males are wired for quality over quantity. They don't need a long contact list or a circle of ride or dies they barely trust. If they care about you, you'll feel it in how present they are, not how public they are. And if they don't let you in, it's not because they're cold, it's because their energy and emotions aren't for casual consumption. They keep their emotional world small, sharp, and clean. That's how they protect their peace. They value real bonds, not borrowed words. So while everyone else is broadcasting fake vulnerability for attention, Sigma males are choosing silence, clarity, and private loyalty. When a Sigma lets you close, you're not part of a crowd. You're part of something that actually matters. And that kind of intimacy? It's rare because it's real. Number 7, keeping fake friendships alive. Most people stay connected just to avoid discomfort. They keep replying to texts they don't care about, showing up to events they dread, and maintaining friendships that should have ended years ago. Why? Guilt? Nostalgia? Fear of being the bad guy? But Sigma males don't play that game. They don't keep people around out of obligation. They don't hold on to broken bonds just because there's history. For a Sigma male, the past doesn't give a relationship value, the quality of the connection does. And the second it stops being real, it's done. They don't wait for a big betrayal or explosion. They sense when the energy shifts, when conversations become forced, when support turns into competition, when someone only reaches out when they need something. That's all the clarity they need. And here's the thing. They don't make a big announcement about it. They don't do the dramatic falling out or the emotional exit. They just quietly unplug. The calls stop. The energy disappears and they move on like it never happened. People might call it cold, but it's not. It's clean. Sigma males don't collect people like trophies. They build their circle on depth, not history. And if someone no longer adds peace, purpose, or growth to their life, that person simply no longer belongs there. They know keeping dead friendships alive drains energy that could be used on things that actually matter. And Sigma males guard their energy like it's gold, because it is. They're not interested in pretending everything's fine for the sake of appearances. If the connection isn't mutual, if the loyalty isn't real, they'd rather walk alone. And here's the brutal truth. They don't look back, not out of bitterness, but because once they realize something's not real, it no longer exists in their world. They leave the weight behind and keep moving forward, lighter, clearer, stronger. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. And it's one of the reasons Sigma males are so hard to distract or derail. They simply refuse to carry what's already dead. Number 8. Social hierarchies and clout chasing. Everywhere you look, someone's trying to climb higher. Higher job titles, more followers, shinier cars, louder opinions. The game is always the same. Prove you're better than the next guy. But if you take a step back, you'll see it's all a loop. Most people don't even know why they're climbing. They just think they have to. Now, here's where Sigma males are different. They see that ladder, but they don't feel the need to touch it. In fact, they question why it even exists. Who decided that being at the top of some social chain makes you more valuable? Who said status equals strength? Sigma males are not in it for the show. They care about depth, not rank. They don't chase approval or recognition because they don't need their worth confirmed by numbers or applause. Their confidence doesn't come from trophies or titles. It comes from knowing they're doing what feels true to them. Clout doesn't impress them. They don't get excited by popularity or trendiness. If everyone is pointing in one direction, they'll probably walk the other way. Not to be rebellious, but because they're not interested in following noise. They're wired to find meaning, not hype. That's why Sigma males can be hard to label. They don't play the same games as everyone else. They'll be the guy in the back of the room, quiet but sharp, observing everything and needing nothing from anyone. Their value doesn't rise or fall with someone else's opinion. While others are busy trying to appear important, Sigma males focus on becoming solid. They'd rather be respected for their integrity than praised for their image. That's a rare kind of strength. So when the crowd is obsessed with climbing, chasing, and impressing, Sigma males are already somewhere else, building their own way with quiet power and no interest in playing someone else's game. Number 9, celebrity culture and influencer worship. In today's world, people treat celebrities like gods. A famous face posts a photo and millions react. An influencer gives an opinion and suddenly it becomes gospel. It's not just entertainment anymore, it's obsession. People build their self-worth around strangers they'll never meet, trying to mimic lifestyles they don't even understand. But Sigma males don't fall for that illusion. They're not impressed by flashing lights or carefully filtered lives. Fame doesn't move them. What moves them is truth. And most of what's being celebrated out there, it's just noise dressed up as gold. They don't care how many followers someone has or how expensive their watch is. Sigma males are far more interested in who someone is when the cameras are off. They know that charisma can be bought and popularity doesn't equal wisdom. That's why they don't follow people. They study them quietly, carefully. They look for patterns, not hype. They want to know what drives someone, not how they perform. They ask deeper questions. Is this person consistent? Do they think for themselves? Are they adding value or just seeking attention? That's the kind of insight Sigma males live for. Worshipping public figures feels like mental poverty to them. Why hand over your attention, your time, even your identity to someone who's just a well-packaged product? Sigma males would rather build their own mind than become a copy of someone else's brand. They understand something most people forget. Everyone's just human. And when you strip away the spotlight, the followers, and the marketing, what's left? If there's no substance underneath, there's nothing worth admiring. Sigma males choose depth over dazzle. They don't idolize, they analyze, they don't imitate, they learn. And while others are chasing influence, Sigma males are becoming influential in ways that actually matter, quietly, thoughtfully, and without needing anyone's approval. Number 10, impressing strangers. Most people spend a huge chunk of their lives trying to be liked by people who don't even know them. They tailor their words, their outfits, their whole personality just to get a reaction. Whether it's online or in real life, there's this constant pressure to perform, to be impressive, relatable, charming. But here's the truth. Sigma males live by. If you're bending yourself to win approval from strangers, you've already lost something more important, yourself. Sigma males don't care to impress people they'll never speak to again. They're not dressing for attention. They're not posting for clout. They're not molding themselves into something they're not just to fit into a conversation or gain a nod of approval. It's not that they're being difficult, they're just being real. What you see with a Sigma male is only what he chooses to show, and that's not secrecy, it's control. He's not interested in being an open book for the sake of being liked. He's not going to change how he talks or act extra confident to seem more alpha. That's just not his game. The way he carries himself isn't about image, it's about alignment. His actions match his values, not trends. His opinions are rooted in thought, not popularity. And his presence doesn't scream for attention, but it still manages to leave a mark. He knows exactly how much of himself to share and with whom. He's not guarded because he's afraid of connection. He's guarded because he respects the value of authenticity. And he doesn't hand that out to just anyone, while the world is busy polishing fake versions of themselves for strangers who don't even matter. The Sigma male is quietly building a life that feels right to him. Not loud, not flashy, but solid. And that solid ground is something most people never find because they're too busy chasing applause from people who'll forget their name tomorrow. Number 11, being the center of attention. These days, everything seems to revolve around being seen. People will do anything for attention: loud outfits, bigger opinions, constant updates on what they're doing, eating, or thinking. It's almost like visibility equals value. If people don't see you, you must not matter, right? But Sigma males don't buy into that. They're not interested in being the loudest voice in the room. In fact, they'd rather not be the focus at all. Not because they're shy, not because they're unsure of themselves, but because they know something most people don't. Real power doesn't need a spotlight. They don't feel the need to announce every move. While others are busy broadcasting, Sigma males are building, quietly, strategically. Their energy goes into doing, not performing. They're fully aware that the world is obsessed with attention, but they also know that attention doesn't equal achievement. Sigma males choose to stay under the radar because it gives them space to think clearly, move smartly, and act without distraction. They're the kind of people who let their work speak long before their name does. And by the time people realize what they've built, it's already done. Being in the spotlight can become a trap. It pulls people into performance mode where they're constantly trying to maintain an image. Sigma males have no interest in performing. They'd rather remain low profile and focus on what actually matters. Privacy isn't just comfort for them, it's protection. It keeps their peace intact and their progress uninterrupted. There's something magnetic about someone who isn't begging to be noticed, who doesn't need applause to feel steady. Sigma males carry that presence. They don't demand attention, but they leave an impact. And that impact lasts longer than any performance ever could. They prove that true strength doesn't need an audience. It just needs clarity, purpose, and the courage to let the results do the talking. In final words, the quieter you become, the more you can hear. Ram Dass. In a world that constantly pushes noise, popularity, and performance, choosing silence, substance, and self-direction is an act of quiet rebellion. That's what makes the Sigma male stand out, not because he tries to, but because he simply refuses to be shaped by things that do not matter to him. While most people chase attention, approval, and artificial connection, the Sigma male moves differently. Not because he wants to be different, but because he's made peace with who he really is. He's not trying to escape the system just for the sake of it. He's trying to stay true to his core, even if that means being misunderstood. You're not here to play roles. You're not here to perform emotions, fake friendships, or collect empty wins. If you feel like you don't care about the things most people seem obsessed with, good. That's not a flaw. That's a sign you are listening to something deeper than the noise. The truth is, the world needs more people who don't chase trends, who don't build lives based on applause, who know how to say no and mean it. The Sigma male is proof that strength does not always show up loudly. Sometimes it looks like walking away with calm eyes. Sometimes it looks like creating without clout. Sometimes it looks like building a life so real it doesn't need to be explained. You're not alone in your silence. You're not wrong for choosing peace over popularity or clarity over chaos. You were never meant to be everyone's version of success. You were meant to build your own. So keep doing things your way. Keep valuing what actually matters. Keep staying sharp while the world stays distracted. The ones who get it will feel it. And the rest, they were never meant to. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.